$61,000 app spree just completed. We're gonna break it down and then break down some of the issues and things that he's facing right now, how to garden, and what comes next. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back, my friends, to the channel. We got another app spree to show off here today, and this is a good one. This is a good one because this is somebody who essentially before October of 2023 had no credit, had no average age of account, had poor history, and took that as the starting date to completely rebuild and bring himself to where we are today, which is over $60,000 in credit. And then, obviously, what does that person do now? What does the future look like, right? So I think this is more of a relatable situation than, a lot of these, let's call them higher tier businesses and, higher profitability businesses and stuff like that we're showing off lately. Some of you might not be able to relate to that, right? And so at any given time, most people are credit rebuilding. So let's cover that. All right, before we get started, if there's one thing you take away from this video, it's the following. I wanna make it crystal clear that when you are getting towards the end of your app spree, whether you did it all in one day, you did it in a week, it's taken now months, you will very obviously be able to tell when you're at the end of the app spree. It's not just denials you'll be getting, which maybe a denial will be, you start to get back-to-back denials, that'll be a very obvious, okay, let's stop, okay? But a lot of times that's not happening. Instead, what we're seeing is a bank that would maybe start you off at a $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 starting limit, you're getting a $500 limit. You're getting a $1,000 limit on the personal side. That is usually an indication that it's time to maybe slow down and put the brakes on this app spree. We're done. Let's start gardening and building these relationships to then do something in the future, right? So anyways, just wanna make that clear that a lot of times people don't really notice that the diminishing returns or, the runway that they've got in their app spree starts to run out pretty quick. And you usually see it first and foremost, not with the denials, but with the approvals, just really bad starting limits. Okay, now let's dive into this. Let's make this bigger so you guys can see it. And I'm gonna make this anonymous for now. I don't know if this person wants to be public or how public they wanna be, but I'm gonna take this as sort of a case study. We're gonna dissect what went good and how I would kind of move forward from here. So, started October 2023. He says he thinks he's sitting at around 61,000 revolving credit. Yeah, so I'm taking his math for it. I actually didn't re-add this up. So if we're wrong on a math, comment below. Let us know that our math skills suck and what the real amount is. But here we go. So we got an Amex BBP at 5,000, BBC at 3,000, Bonvoy Brilliant at 5,500, Hilton Honors at 2,000. He's got the business green, personal gold, and personal platinum. I don't know what the business green limit is, but personal gold and platinum are both like open end. Those are charge cards. So those you usually don't get a limit on, you get spend on them. You know what I mean. Okay, Discover IT, that looks like a 10K card. Marcus, we got a GM 4,500, Apple 5,500. Those are actually decent limits for these two as well, right? Like out of the gates rebuilding. We got a Sync, a Verizon credit card for 4,000. He gets a discount on his bill, and that's why he does this card, because here on this channel, we're not really huge fans of Synchrony or Synchrony, however you want to pronounce it. I mean, those videos, what's crazy is those videos from like a year and 2 years ago still get views, still get comments every single day. We just had somebody comment that 8 years ago, they lost over $100,000 in trade lines from Synchrony Bank. So that now tops the cake. That is the largest I've heard of, unfortunately, and that is a huge amount of credit to lose. Just woke up, all gone, poof, gone. I pinned it on the video. You'll see it if you watch that video. Ally Platinum 4,000, Mission Lane 4,000, Navy Fed, this is the one we got to talk about, 1,500, DCU 12,000. Just got that. We showed that off in a video. Some of these are CLIs in between, and so this is like from zero to getting these amounts, right? So I don't know where the CLIs happened, et cetera, et cetera. He's over 700s. I will probably give you a snapshot right here of all of his, all the rest of his data. His average age of account was like nothing. And so yeah, there's the rest of the data right there. Now let's talk about a few things. First things first, Navy Fed actually did not give him the bag at all. He's done a couple pledge loans. He's done shared savings accounts. He's dripping in money into a couple of CD products or something like that. He's doing drips, direct deposits, did pledge loans, and he still was not able to get a big bag with them. 1,500 is a very low starting limit on the first card. And so when that's all happening and we're doing everything right, it's probably time, right? Time is the biggest factor. And so, yeah, a straight denial would probably be too high of DTI, or utilization is too high across the profile. But to get such a low first limit, I've actually had this happen. And then when they went back, they got a $20,000 flagship or a $25,000 card. In this case, it was $1,000 first limit and then went back and got a 25K flagship. So sometimes that first card with Navy the limit sucks, but the second one's the banger. It just depends, man. And I know it's frustrating to see when you see an 18, 19-year-old with no credit get a $20,000 car just because DTI purposes. I understand that. So sometimes if you're doing everything right, especially with Navy Fed, where it's not like we know the exact playbook, but we know a lot of it, and you're still not getting the reaction you want and the limits that you want, it's time to just put in more time, right? That's it. A lot of times is we just need to take a step back, slow this thing down, and we'll get what we want on a long enough timeline, right? There really isn't a rush, and I hate to say it like that, but yeah. Okay, so where to go from now? Things are pretty cooked. He's actually in position. Okay, here it is right here. He has banking relationships with BOA, PNC, Wings, Wells, PenFed, Signature, First Tech, and I think he just did SDFCU, I think. So I think he did one or two other credit unions. So now he is in perfect position to start building relationships for 6 to 12 months from now. It is now 100% going to the garden, okay? He got CLIs on the Discover, Mission Lane, and Synchrony. So I saw some people chiming in and say, hey, I'd get rid of the Sync, I'd get rid of the Mission Lane, and then I thought there was another one. No, I think that's it. And then the Marcus doesn't make sense, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. In this first, run through, I would say leave everything alone until you go and actually start to get more business credit and you get those first $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 limits on the business side. Then we can go back and start to thin out the personal side. Understand that when I close an account, even if it's my oldest, which I think one of the credit rebuilders is his oldest, probably Mission Lane, when we close those accounts, it doesn't mean that our age of account drops. It stays on your profile. It still positively affects your credit score, right? So keep that in mind. And so it's not a horrible thing to close out those accounts if you're not using them, especially if we're looking at this on the long game, right? My dog in the background. Today was bath day for them. So anyways, on a long enough timeline is these things don't matter, right? And so I would first though go and get, let's wait this 6 to 12 months, continue to build relationships, continue to get CLIs, get these new banks into position, get some there, get some business credit, then go and thin back, because then you don't have to really worry about total available credit or TVL or TAV or TAC going down, total available credit. We don't have to worry about that going down and that affecting things more so. His profile looks kind of thin. So even having 60,000, which there is some business credit already there, he's still in kind of a vulnerable position. So we don't want to go and cut out a bunch of stuff and then go and try and get new credit. No, get the new credit first, then cut. Then let's see what happens and how things shake out with credit score changes or whatever, right? So in this case, that's how I would do it. And I think this was beautifully played. Most people, when they go to gardening, it's forcibly done. They don't want to do it. And then they're not thinking of what's the next plays. They're still fiending for the dopamine hit of the approvals. They're still wishing they could be getting more credit, getting more cards, getting, whatever the goal is, right? And because of that, they're not really looking forward. They're not thinking about what the forward, what the next moves are. And so it takes them a lot longer to kind of pivot and make that next step, which this is exactly what you do. During the gardening time, we build relationships, transactional history, then we make our moves in another, it might just be 3 months or 6 or 12. Doesn't matter, because the next burst is going to be bigger than this one. The next one's going to be over 100. We can mostly focus on business, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, study what we're showing you. Study the foundation and the main foundation of what we're trying to give you, because there's a thread that runs through all of these videos on this channel. So anyways, that's all I got to share with you in this one. If you're brand new to the channel, take some time, watch videos on this channel. We're not like a lot of other channels. And so I think you're going to take away that there's a common thread. Like I said, a deep structure to everything that we're talking about. And on a long-term game, this is where we want to be. And this is how you secure millions of dollars in credit funding over your lifetime and get yourself into a really great position. So anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one. Hey, you should subscribe. 60% of you are not subscribed yet. Right there. Okay, bye.
Wild monkey!